So what do we know about the characteristics that leaders should have, and how much of this will change? I mean, some of it won't change. Leaders, much like employees at any level or in any area, will always do better if they have three core characteristics. We call these the key ingredients of employability, and it's ability, likability, and drive. Ability doesn't just relate to soft skills, things like creativity or learning potential, or even having the ability to manage people and have people skills. It also includes technical skills. This is something that psychologists often forget. I always say, well, even if the person driving or flying your plane is charismatic and has a great sense of humor, you probably want them to be a pilot, right? So ability has to do with hard skills. We're very good at evaluating in general hard skills via people's resumes and LinkedIn profiles now, but there are also methods for evaluating generic components of ability like intelligence, IQ, good judgment, and so forth. And likability and drive are generic and depend on dispositional factors like personality. And we always say people who have 3 out of 3 will almost certainly be successful. And if you think about it, there's not that many people who have 3 out of 3. Think about employees in your firm, people who work for you, people who you come across. Can you think of many people who are not just able, but also hardworking and likable? Usually there is a trade-off, right? So a lot of people are able, but then they're a pain in the ass. Some people are not so able, but work hard to achieve that. And that's an interesting tension that we need to deal with. So when people have 3 out of 3, they're almost inevitably going to be successful. 2 out of 3, they're probably going to have a job. 1 out of 3, probably unemployed. 0 out of 3, unemployable. If you're not likable, dim, and lazy, no coach can save you. Yeah? And this is generic, and the term is whether people move up from entry-level jobs to 1, 2, 3 places. When we're looking for leadership potential, we also want people to actually be ambitious, resilient, to have good judgment. I mean, the classic characteristics of leaders. And the one that has been emphasized in the last 5 or 10 years, we want leaders to be entrepreneurial. So some people are much more coachable than others. But the reality is that training requires a lot of effort. It can work, but it mostly requires breaking habits that are very well cemented, replacing them with new ones. And it's very difficult, if not impossible, to move people from one extreme to the other, right? So if you have no social skills whatsoever, you're a total introvert, you hate other people, misanthropic, we won't turn you into, I don't know, Barack Obama or something. Although he's quite introverted and reserved, so but at least there's something there that is a colorful performance. So the bottom line is that we spend too much money on training and too little on selection. Because if selection fails, there's always training and development. If you select people properly and you put them in the right job, you can still train them, but they will start here, not here. And then you spend less money on training. So yeah, almost largely immutable is the answer. I think if people want to climb up the organizational ladder, they need to be aware of what their strengths and weaknesses are. And there's an emphasis today just on focusing on positive qualities, but really it's by fixing your mistakes and your flaws that you'll get better. And usually there are 2 big areas for improvements. Either you have what it takes to be an effective leader, but maybe you're too low-key, you don't self-promote, you fly under the radar, and then therefore you won't be picked. So those people I would encourage to be more politically savvy and astute and, network more, manage upwards. Or you have the other type that tends to emerge naturally, but then they can't be effective. So these are people who blow their own trumpet and are very loud, colorful, but actually they're a little bit too self-centered and not altruistic or team-oriented enough. So imagine these 2 groups would encompass like 80% of people. I think leaders will always benefit from having, the three main ingredients of leadership potential, which is ability, likability, and drive. However, in today's digital age, where disruption is kind of more ubiquitous, ability also includes being entrepreneurial. And being entrepreneurial means being able to operate like an entrepreneur, but inside organizations. Some people actually refer to these leaders as intrapreneurs. So they're given resources, they're left alone, and they have the ability to interpret events as opportunities, follow through proactively, and really innovation and entrepreneurship in any area is about leveraging the gap or leveling the gap between supply and demand. So there's this wonderful concept of reality distortion that was picked up by Steve Jobs' biographer that I think sums it up. Entrepreneurs have maybe an unrealistic and optimistic mindset that enables them to see things before others, but they also have the ability to sell that vision to people. Excuse me. And then one of the problems with these people is that they're often very hard to manage. Entrepreneurial people are sometimes a pain in the neck. And that's why, even though organizations say they want these people, in reality they often don't put their money where their mouth is, because it's a lot easier to hire people who are conformist, obedient, and predictable.